So this is a continuation of your lesson 5-4, and this time we're going to be looking specifically at your work on the key concept, the do you understand, do you know how questions, and then the practice and problem solving questions. Before we get started on any of the practice work, I want you to make a note here, taking a look in the key concept, and remember that your addition and subtraction properties of inequality are just like the addition and subtraction properties of equality. In other words, whatever you do to one side of your inequality, you have to do the same thing on the other side. So if you're adding to both sides, that's because you had subtraction in the problem. If you're subtracting on both sides, it's because you had addition in the problem. So use those inverse operations just like you did when you were solving equations. So remember, addition and subtraction undo each other. If you have addition in the inequality, you're going to use subtraction to get rid of it. If you have subtraction in the inequality, you're going to use addition. Now let's take a look at number 2. How do the solutions of the two inequalities differ? Are any of the solutions the same? Explain. So in part A, you notice that the two inequalities look the same except for the inequality sign. The first inequality uses a less than symbol, while the second inequality uses a greater than symbol. So when we solve the inequality, we still do the same thing on both sides of each of them, which is subtract 5. And when I subtract 5 from both sides of each inequality, you'll notice that my solutions also look similar. X is less than 3 and X is greater than 3. So in each of these cases, the reference point is the number 3. But in one inequality, it tells me I want all the numbers that are smaller than 3, less than 3, so that means under 3. And in the second inequality, we want all the solutions, all the numbers that are greater than 3. So do these inequalities have anything in common? And the answer is no. Now I want you to try part B. See if you can figure out if any of those, either of those inequalities have anything in common. Come back and check your answer when you're done. Now in part B, the solutions and the process to solve them looks the same, especially when you look at part A. The biggest difference here is the inequality signs. Instead of having a less than sign and a greater than sign, you now have a less than or equal to sign and a greater than or equal to sign. So in this problem, both inequalities have 3 as a solution because the or equal to part tells us that 3 is a possible answer in each case. Now I want you to try numbers 4, A, B, and C. Come back and check your answer when you're finished and see if you did them correctly. You may need to use a separate sheet of paper to show your work before you get to graphing. Let's first take a look at part A. X minus 5 is greater than 3. So when we solve that inequality, we're going to be subtracting 5 from both sides, just like we did in the equations. So when we subtract the 5 from both sides, 3 take away 5 is what leaves me with the negative 2. So x must be greater than negative 2 in order to make that inequality true. So x greater than negative 2 now has to be put on the graph over here. So when we do that, we have an open circle because negative 2 is not one of our answers, and we're going to be coloring that to the right, shading to the right, to indicate any number that's bigger than negative 2 will complete that inequality. In part B, you'll see a similar inequality, but this one says x plus 5 is less than or equal to 3. So when I subtract 5 from each side, I get x's less than or equal to -2. So this time my circle is going to be closed and colored in because -2 could be a solution. And it says less than or equal to, which means I need to go to the left because that's where all the numbers are that are smaller than -2. Now let's take a look at letter C. Now I want you to pause the video as you're checking your work on letter C. You have to add the 3/2 to both sides, but in order to do that on the right side of your inequality, you have to get a common denominator. -3 is the whole number, which means you need to change that into a fraction with a denominator of 2. So -3 is the same as -6/2. Once I've done that, I can now add my numerators. -6 plus 3 is a -3, and the denominator is still 2 for halves. After I've done that, now I need to look at how I'm going to graph that. So pause the video if you need to correct your work or to complete your work for letter C, and then come back and check your solution to the graph. Since -3/2 is the same as -1 and 1/2, we have to put the mark on the number line at the -1 and 1/2 mark, which is halfway between -1 and -2. Notice that I've left the circle open because the symbol here is less than, and that means an open circle. And then I want x to be less than -1 1/2, which means I'm going to shade going to the left. Now let's take a look at question 5. Eleanor is driving below the speed limit on a highway. Write the inequality to show how much faster Eleanor can drive without going over the speed limit. So we know that she's not going to go over the speed limit, which in this case is 55. So her speed is going to be less than or equal to 55. She doesn't go over that. Okay, so that means she's got to be under or less than the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit or equal to it, because it says that she does not go over. Now, the question is, how much faster can she drive? Well, right now, the sign indicates that she's already traveling 43 5/10 miles per hour. If I add that to how much faster she can go, then we'll know how much she can go and still stay under that 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. So let's use an S for speed. So how much can she increase her speed? Add that to the 43 5/10 miles per hour she's already traveling, and we want to stay under or equal to the speed limit of 55. Now what I want you to do is to solve this inequality for part B. Come back and check your answer when you think you've got it. So when I solve this inequality, what I'm looking for is what could her increase in speed be without going over the speed limit. So I'm going to subtract from the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit her current speed, which is 43 5/10 miles per hour. And what I get is 11 5/10. Now what that tells me is that Eleanor's speed could be up to and including 11 5/10 miles an hour faster than where she is currently traveling. If she exceeds 11 5/10 miles per hour faster than her current speed, then she'll be going over the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. Now I'd like for you to try questions 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Stop the video while you're working and come back and check each answer. Take a look at the answer for number 6. Since this is an addition inequality, we're going to use subtraction to solve. So take 5 from each side of the inequality, and your solution is x must be less than 2. On the graph, you'll notice that there is an open circle on the 2, and you're going to shade left to show all the numbers that are less than 2. Now let's take a look at the answer for number 7. Since the inequality shows subtraction, we're going to add 4 to both sides. So x must be greater than or equal to 16. Since we see a greater than or equal to sign, then when we graph it on the number line, there's going to be a solid colored in dot on the 16, and I want to shade to the right to show all the numbers that are greater than 16. Now try number 8. In this inequality, since it says x plus 10 is greater than or equal to 14, we're going to subtract the 10 from both sides, and you should end up with a solution that says x is greater than or equal to 4. So now you see that you have a blank number line. Put 4 towards the middle. Notice that the inequality says greater than or equal to, so we're going to put a solid colored in circle there to indicate that 4 could be one of our answers. Then we see that we're going to be shading to the right because we want all the numbers that are bigger than 4. So what's helpful is when you do your number line here, count by ones to the right of 4 and to the left of 4. So 4 is your main number, that's where your solution begins, and then your numbers on either side support the fact whether you're going bigger or smaller. Now let's try number 9. This inequality uses subtraction, so we're going to add 20 to both sides. Therefore, x must be less than or equal to 9. So 9 is my solution where it begins on my number line, and I see that the symbol is a less than or equal to. So I'm going to color in a solid dot, and less than or equal to means we're going to go left. Okay. Now I need to make sure I fill in to support numbers that are less than 9. So again, I can count by ones on both sides. Now take a look at number 10. The maximum number of students in a classroom is 26, meaning it can't go over 26. So that number of students must be less than or equal to 26. There are already 16 students in the class, and we want to know how many more students can be added without exceeding that maximum of 26. So as you solve this, you're going to be subtracting that 16. So take the 16 students away that are already in the class to see that the number of students that can join must be less than or equal to 10. Okay? So at most, 10 students can join art class. Okay, let's take a look at our last 3 questions for today. The last 3 we're going to work on are numbers 13, 14, and 15. Try each of these questions and see if you can find the solution. On number 13, you're looking for an error, and then you're going to show the correct solution on the number line. In number 14, you're going to write an inequality to represent the amount of money Danny's neighbors paid her. And in number 15, you're going to be describing the temperature in the greenhouse before the heater stopped working. When you think you've got those, come back and check your answers. In number 13, when you look at the solution, you might notice that in order to solve that inequality, you have to add 5 to both sides. Mason clearly didn't do that. Okay, if you add 5 to both sides of the inequality, you get x is less than 16. Mason got x is less than 6, which means he likely subtracted that 5 instead of adding it. Okay, he did not use his inverse operations. Then we're going to graph that correct solution on the number line, which is an open circle on the 16 and shaded to the left to show numbers less than that. Now I want you to try number 14. In this problem, we notice that Danny has spent some of the money that she earned taking care of her neighbor's bird. She spent $4 on an afternoon snack and $16 on a book. So altogether, she spent $20 of her money. Because she spent $20, we're going to show that as subtraction, taking it away from the amount of money that Danny's neighbors paid her, which we're calling N. then that amount, it says she had at least $8 left, which means she might have had more. At least means that amount of money or greater. So the inequality n take away 20 is greater than or equal to 8 represents this situation. Now go ahead and try number 15. Stop the video, try it on your own, and come back and check your answer when you're finished. Similar to the last problem, this problem involves temperature in a greenhouse. It tells us that it has to be 67 degrees or higher, meaning this temperature, T, has to be greater than or equal to 67. It also tells us that at some point in time the temperature dropped 4 degrees, so that's the subtracting 4, and that it still was at least 67 degrees, meaning it could have been higher than that, but that's at least where it started. So it says, how can you best describe the temperature in the greenhouse before the heater stopped working? Well, if I solve this inequality, T minus 4 is greater than or equal to 67, and what I'm going to be doing is adding those 4 degrees to see what the temperature could have been in the greenhouse before that heater stopped working. And it tells me that the temperature had to have been at least 71 degrees. So greater than or equal to 71 degrees in order for it to still be above 67 when that heater stopped working and the temperature dropped. Now I think you're ready to try your own. Go to your Pearson account, and your Math Excel lesson should be loaded and waiting.